Hey, it's W5HRO. Well, I have an update here for the shack or for the Courier here, or the 10-meter project. I've got like 3 sets of videos for 3 different subjects that this has all been talked about in. But this has been my 10-meter setup. I just got this amplifier restored. If you remember, not too long ago, just a few weeks ago, and had it all up and working. 10 meters is just about completely died now. It's the looks like the radio season's closing down for the upcoming summer. It's just about summer now. It's getting warm here. But what happened is last weekend, or I mean the weekend, was it last weekend? No, it was the weekend before last. I came in here in the morning like I've been doing every morning. I turned on all this on first. I come over here and I turn on my 590 SG with the pan adapter and everything. And I get up in the morning when I do that. And I did it the other morning, and I came back downstairs here and I just happened to look down. I looked and I noticed the meter lights for the Courier weren't on. And I went, oh God, what happened? So I turned it off. And a few days later, I finally got around to it. I slid it out there and I pulled the cover off, and kind of what I thought had happened. There's a 3-amp slow blow fuse in there, and it's the kind they solder the leads on the end of the fuse on each end. Has the leads, and it was all rusty when I restored. I thought, let me just leave it in there for now because I didn't have a slow blow. So I thought, okay, well, that's probably what happened. So I took the ohm meter across it, and sure enough, it was open. So when I looked at the manual, or the specifications on everything, and it says use a 3 to 4 amp slow blow, I thought, okay, I've got a 4 amp fast blow, I'll just stick one of those in it. So I replaced the fuse, put the cabinet back on, hooked it all back up, turned it on, the meter lights came on fine. Within about maybe 10, 15 seconds, I thought I started smelling something. Then all of a sudden I saw a little bit of smoke roll on the top of that chrome cabinet, the Courier's cabinet, so I immediately shut it off. And then a few days later I pulled it back out and I pulled the cover off, and it smells like it's coming from the darn transformer. So I'm like, great, did the transformer melt down in this thing? I don't know, but I've got to do some, I'm going to plug it back up. I'm going to check the diodes in it first on the high, the rectifier diodes. It's possible maybe one of the diodes went bad, but I think the transformer and these things were just always a bit undersized. So I did grab another one of these things dirt cheap. This was cheap. And I am tickled to death because you know why? It came with an original Turner 245 high Z crystal mic. So I polished it all up, I looked it all over, and I took the 2 screws off, I carefully pulled the front off. That crystal element it doesn't have one bit of damage. There's not one dent. It looks like this thing had never been pulled off before. So I'm happier than anything to get this microphone. The microphone is probably worth more than what I paid for both things. So I've got a spare transformer. Now I do have a couple different ones out in the garage. I've got a Courier 23 Plus with the blue face. I could have pulled the one out of that, if that's what that is. And then I have another one that I found that's got a browner face, like a brown face on it. But the housings on those transformers are kind of rusty. And this one might be a little rusty too, but however, I can always pull the housing off of this one and put it on the one out of here, and then, just put the bell housings on this transformer if I have to pull the one out of here. So I have a parts rig is what I'm getting at. I even have the power cord. The power cord's rolled up in the closet. But I'm happy to get that mic. I was tickled to death because it has the Courier plug on it. If I have to, I can just switch the wires on it and plug it up on this Demco and play around with it. I love those old high Z crystal elements, but it's not going to sound as good as a D104, but still, it's a high Z crystal element Turner, 254 bullet head mic. It's the Z is what it is. And I don't know, they made a C model of this when the CB started getting popular. They made a C, which was a carbon model, which was made out of a carbon material, but I'm sorry, not carbon, ceramic. We had the ceramic element, but this has got the old crystal. And I'm not sure why they didn't put the Z on here, because it is, maybe because it just says high Z underneath, that's the same. Because I looked online, because I tried to remember, I've still got some old Turner catalogs, and I looked through those. I couldn't find any of the issues that I have, the revs that I have just a 254. They show 254Z or C, so this is definitely the Z, because it has the crystal element in it. So anyway, well, I might have some time this weekend. It's Wednesday, tomorrow's Thursday, so this weekend I may pull this thing back out and cabinet back off this one down here and see if I can't troubleshoot it. Maybe it was something else, but it's possible, even if it was one of those diodes, that smoke still could have been the transformer. You know, and it probably was. It could have damaged it where it overheated the thing while whatever shorted, you know, So anyway, live and learn. Normally I would have, if I had a shop set up out in the garage, I would have pulled the thing out there and I would have troubleshooted some stuff instead of just powering the thing back on after changing the fuse. But I figured, you know, I knew that fuse was rusty. I knew it was probably going to go one of these days, especially now that this one's beefed up a little bit and it's, you know, so anyway. But that's kind of what happens, you know. It's kind of an afterthought. It's like, okay, well, I wish I would have done that instead, but oh well. One of these days I'll learn. Probably when I'm 99 years old. I won't live that long, but hey. So anyway, I thought I'd give you an update here on the setup. My little old Courier 23 that was in mint condition when I found it crapped out on me. Man, I spent all that time getting an amp, finding an amp, the right amp that I needed to work with this setup, and look what happens. There's probably about 2 more years left in the cycle and it's over, and you know, hey, but well, before it takes a dip to where it's going to be really weak activity and sporadic. But it should pick up again next winter real good, because the cycles actually was peaking before it shut down. It's funny, the weekend after I got this thing working was the last weekend that I was able to get on here and talk to anybody on 10, because then the band shut down. So that's all for now. Like I said, I wanted to give an update, and here's my setup. So what do I do? Do I make this part of the Courier 23 video? Do I make it part of the my new shack series, you know, videos, or do I make it, what's the other one I was thinking of? I wouldn't want to put it on the amplifier category. So either I'm going to either label this video Courier, you know, modification, whatever I call that series, or it's going to be called my new ham shack. I don't know, one of the two. 73s for now. This is W5HRO.